Audrey's email lit up my phone during a tech conference keynote. Mom's receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Tech Innovator Ceremony at Quantum Hall. She says you're not welcome on stage during the VIP reception. Noah agreed with her. My own husband siding with his mother again. I maintained my professional composure as I concluded my video call with our Tokyo investors. My finger hovering over my sister-in-law's message. The bitter irony stung deep in my chest, making my stomach twist into knots. Quantum Hall was the flagship event space of the technology company I'd built from nothing over the last decade. A fact my mother-in-law Vivian remained completely oblivious to. In her narrowed worldview, I was merely her son's trophy wife, an attractive Eastern European distraction who had somehow ensnared her brilliant boy into marriage. Ms. Vasiliev, the Singapore development team, is waiting for your feedback on the new algorithm. My executive assistant Rachel reminded me, her voice gentle but insistent. I nodded, pushing the thoughts of Vivian's award ceremony to the recesses of my mind. My fingers tightened around my tablet as determination surged through me. I had a revolutionary tech company to run, even if my in-laws believed I spent my days getting manicures and shopping for designer clothes. The problem with assumptions is that they sink their roots deep and become nearly impossible to uproot. When I met Noah 5 years ago, I was already a successful tech entrepreneur, but I deliberately kept my professional identity separate. My company operated under my Russian family name Vasiliev, while I used Noah's surname Harrington in my personal life. This wasn't calculated deception, just a practical division that had served me well throughout my career. Vivian had made her opinion of me crystal clear from our very first meeting. A girl with no pedigree, she'd remarked to Noah, her voice loud enough to ensure I overheard every cutting word. No family connections, no proper educational background. She never once bothered to inquire about my actual credentials, and I never felt compelled to correct her hasty judgments. Noah, eternally seeking the path of least resistance, consistently dismissed his mother's behavior with casual excuses. "That's just Mom being Mom," he would say with a shrug that made my heart sink. "She'll warm up to you eventually, I promise." 5 years later, I was still waiting for even the slightest thaw in that glacial relationship. I wrapped up my conference calls and opened Audrey's email again, reading it twice to be sure. The award ceremony was scheduled for this weekend, a prestigious industry event with over 300 prominent attendees gathered at my company's headquarters. Vivian had been coordinating with my events team for months, though she'd never actually met the founder and CEO, me. She simply dealt with management personnel, frequently dropping Noah's name to secure preferential treatment. "Rachel," I called out, feeling a plan beginning to form in my mind. "Connect me with Marcus from Quantum Sphere HQ." Marcus, my trusted COO, answered immediately. "Ms. Vasiliev, I was just about to contact you regarding Dr. Harrington's award ceremony preparations. She has been exceptionally demanding with the staff." I could visualize it perfectly. "Tell me everything, don't spare any details." The list was extensive and infuriating. Vivian had insisted on the executive suite at a significant discount because her son supposedly knew the founder personally. She demanded exclusive access to the Innovation Lounge, where she planned to host a private gathering for select academic colleagues after the main ceremony. A gathering I was explicitly not invited to, despite being her daughter-in-law. She specified where you should be seated during the ceremony, Marcus said, his voice carefully neutral, but I could hear the underlying tension. "She requested you be positioned in the back row near the service entrance." Of course she did. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I pulled up the guest list on my laptop. All of Silicon Valley's elite would be in attendance. Tech pioneers, venture capitalists, prestigious academics, influential journalists, people Vivian had spent decades trying to impress. People who, ironically, I regularly collaborated with in board meetings and innovation forums. Though she remained blissfully unaware of this fact. "Marcus, maintain all her arrangements exactly as requested," I decided, feeling a surge of anticipation course through me. "But make sure the security team is thoroughly briefed. And ensure Jordan is coordinating the VIP reception." Jordan was our most skilled event coordinator and, more importantly, he knew precisely who I was and what I was capable of. The day of the ceremony dawned bright and clear. Noah had left early to help his mother prepare, leaving me to get ready alone in our spacious penthouse. "Mom thinks it would be more appropriate if we arrive separately," he said, his eyes fixed on his shoes rather than meeting my gaze. "You understand the situation, right?" I understood perfectly, each word landing like a small dagger. I selected my outfit with strategic precision. A sleek black Armani pantsuit, professionally elegant yet intentionally understated. No need to compete with Vivian's inevitable academic regalia and status symbols. I arrived exactly on time, walking into the grand auditorium I had personally designed 2 years earlier. Vivian had spared no expense with my company's resources. Digital displays showcasing her academic achievements lined the walls. A string quartet played subtle classical pieces, and tech demonstrations showcased innovations that I had personally funded through university research grants. She stood holding court near the entrance, resplendent in formal academic robes with golden embellishments. Noah dutifully positioned at her side like an obedient student. "Oh, you actually came," she remarked when she spotted me, her smile rigid and cold. "The general seating area is that way. Noah, darling, we need to greet the Dean of Computer Science." I watched them walk away, noticing the tension in Noah's shoulders and the stiffness in his stride. Deep down, he recognized his mother's behavior was inexcusable, but he lacked the courage to confront her, not without some serious motivation. I made my way to my assigned seat near the service entrance at the back of the auditorium. Several other outcasts occupied the surrounding chairs. Distant academic colleagues Vivian tolerated, a former student she felt obligated to acknowledge. They avoided making eye contact, clearly not wanting to associate with the snubbed daughter-in-law relegated to the shadows. The ceremony progressed exactly according to Vivian's meticulous plan. Awards were presented, speeches delivered, and then came the announcement about the exclusive VIP reception in the Innovation Lounge. "Only those with platinum access badges," Vivian announced into the microphone, her voice dripping with self-importance. "Noah, please escort our distinguished guests to the reception area." I observed silently as half the attendees made their way toward the elevators, platinum badges gleaming proudly on their lanyards. Noah cast a guilty, apologetic glance in my direction before following them like a dutiful son. Perfect timing. I took out my phone and sent Marcus a brief text, "Initiate plan recognition." The next hour became an exercise in strategic disruption. First, the presentation system in the Innovation Lounge mysteriously malfunctioned, refusing to display Vivian's carefully prepared slides. Then, the wireless microphones produced irritating feedback whenever she attempted to speak. Minor technical difficulties, nothing too obvious or unprofessional. I remained in my seat near the service entrance, sipping sparkling water and monitoring the situation through security updates on my phone. The countdown had begun. 3, 2, 1. Right on schedule, Vivian came storming out of the elevator. Her face flushed with frustration and indignation, her academic robes billowing dramatically behind her. "Where is the technical director?" she demanded loudly. "This is completely unacceptable. Do you have any idea who I am and what I've contributed to this field?" Marcus appeared, the picture of professional composure. "Is there a problem, Dr. Harrington?" "Everything is problematic. The presentation system, the audio equipment, the technical support. I demand to speak with the founder immediately." "Of course," Marcus replied smoothly. "Ms. Vasilyev is actually present this evening." Vivian's expression transformed to smug satisfaction. "Finally, where is she hiding?" I stood up from my seat by the service entrance, straightening my jacket. "Right here, Vivian." The silence that descended upon the auditorium was absolute and heavy. Vivian stared at me, her mouth opening and closing in speechless shock. Noah, who had followed his mother downstairs, turned visibly pale. That's simply not possible," Vivian stammered, her voice suddenly uncertain. "I'm just what exactly?" I asked quietly but firmly. "A trophy wife, a girl with no pedigree? The founder and CEO of Quantum Sphere, and the developer of the algorithm you've been studying for years. All of these things are true, actually." The whispers erupted immediately. Many attendees already knew me as E. Vasilyev, the innovative tech entrepreneur. They were finally connecting the dots between my professional and personal identities. "Ms. Vasilyev," Marcus announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Should I have the technical team fix the presentation system in the Innovation Lounge?" "That won't be necessary," I replied with newfound confidence. "I believe the reception is relocating down here." I turned to address the gathered crowd. "The demonstration of our newest quantum computing breakthrough will begin in 10 minutes. Everyone, consider it a gift in honor of Dr. Harrington's Achievement Award." The following hour was beautifully orchestrated chaos. Vivian's carefully selected VIP group quickly dispersed as guests eagerly returned to the main auditorium. Many approached me not as Noah's wife, but as Ava Vasiliev, the brilliant innovator they'd collaborated with for years. Noah approached me cautiously, his expression a complex mixture of shock, confusion, and something else I couldn't quite identify. Was it genuine admiration finally breaking through? "Why did you never tell me about any of this?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "You never actually asked," I replied honestly. "You were too preoccupied defending your mother's misconceptions about me to ever question them yourself." He physically recoiled at the truth of my words. "Elena, I mean Ms. Vasiliev!" The university president hurried toward us. "I had absolutely no idea you were Noah's wife. You must join our technology ethics committee for the upcoming symposium." I smiled politely. "I'd be delighted to participate, though I typically prefer seating arrangements away from service entrances." The president had the decency to look thoroughly embarrassed. He had been part of the exclusive VIP gathering, after all. As the evening drew to a close, I discovered Vivian sitting alone at what had been my assigned table, staring vacantly into space. The irony of this role reversal wasn't lost on me. "The view from back here is more illuminating than you might expect," I told her, sliding into the seat beside her. Despite the proximity to the service doors, she turned toward me, her carefully composed academic facade showing every one of her 65 years. "You've been secretly laughing at my ignorance this entire time," she said bitterly. "No, Vivian. I've been working tirelessly this entire time, creating technological innovations, just as you always wanted Noah to do with his philosophical theories." I stood up, smoothing my jacket. "Congratulations on your achievement award. The executive suite is complimentary, naturally. Family courtesy." I walked away, hearing her sharp intake of breath behind me. My phone vibrated with an urgent notification. Rachel updating me about our breakthrough AI project in Berlin. Back to the real work that mattered. The story hadn't concluded, obviously. There would be significant fallout, necessary explanations, relationships to reconstruct or potentially end. But for now, I had given Vivian precisely what she had always craved: an award ceremony that industry insiders would discuss for years to come. Just not for the reasons she had meticulously planned. The morning after Vivian's award ceremony, I woke to discover 37 missed calls. Mostly from Noah, who hadn't returned home that night, several from Audrey, presumably checking on the aftermath, and one from Vivian herself. I ignored them all and opened my laptop instead. The European markets were closing, and I had critical decisions pending. Being publicly revealed as Eva Vasiliev meant I could no longer maintain the careful division between my personal and professional identities. Time to control the narrative proactively. "Rachel," I said when she answered, "schedule a press conference. It's time to formally introduce the face behind Quantum Sphere's innovations." My phone vibrated again. "Noah this time," I answered, steeling myself for the conversation. "Where are you right now?" His voice sounded rough and strained, either from insomnia or excessive drinking. "In my home office, where I work every morning beginning at 7. "You have a dedicated home office?" I closed my eyes, feeling a sharp pain in my chest. 5 years of marriage, and he had never once inquired about what lay behind the sleek double doors in our penthouse's east wing. Had never wondered why I disappeared there for hours each day. "We need to have a serious conversation," he said. "Yes, we absolutely do. But first, I have an executive board meeting. Meet me at my office, my actual office, at noon." "Your office?" he repeated, as though the concept was entirely foreign to him. "At Quantum Sphere headquarters downtown, 37th floor. Tell reception that your wife is expecting you." I ended the call before he could respond. There was a certain satisfying justice in knowing he'd have to acknowledge those specific words. My wife, to gain access to me now. The morning passed in a whirlwind of meetings and reputation management. News had spread rapidly through our professional circles about last night's revelation. My public relations team was fielding constant calls from technology publications, eager to learn how Silicon Valley's most innovative female CEO had maintained such an intentionally low public profile. "Professor Harrington has arrived," my assistant announced through the intercom. "Send him in." Noah entered my office like an explorer in uncharted territory. His gaze wandered across the floor-to-ceiling windows, the modern technological displays on the walls, the impressive array of patents and innovation awards I'd never brought home. He appeared distinctly out of place in his casual attire amidst the cutting-edge corporate environment. "You've been extraordinarily busy," he finally commented. For the past 15 years consistently, I confirmed. I gestured toward the chair across from my desk, though you never noticed or asked. He sat down heavily, running his fingers through his disheveled hair. Mom is completely devastated. Of course that would be his primary concern. Always his mother first, without fail. Vivian's academic pride is wounded, I corrected him firmly. She'll recover. She claims you deliberately humiliated her, setting her up for public failure during her awards ceremony. No, she arranged her own humiliation by attempting to diminish me. I simply refused to accept the subordinate role she assigned me. Noah shifted uncomfortably in his chair. You could have shared all of this with me, just as you shared your agreement to exclude me from the VIP reception. He had the decency to look genuinely ashamed. That was completely wrong. I should have defended you. Yes, you absolutely should have. But you consistently fail to do so, Noah. And now I'm forced to wonder, would knowing about my success have actually changed anything? Or would you have simply found another justification for allowing your mother to treat me with such disrespect? My intercom buzzed. Ms. Vasiliev, Tokyo is connecting in 5 minutes for the quarterly review. I looked directly at Noah. I have a technology company to manage. We can continue this discussion at home. He stood up, appearing completely lost. When will you be home? When I complete my work responsibilities, like always. Understanding finally registered in his expression. All those times he assumed I was attending yoga classes or shopping or lunch with friends. I had been here, building a technological empire while performing the role his family had predetermined for me. The following few weeks became an intensive reality adjustment for the Harrington family. Vivian, unable to face her academic colleagues after the ceremony revelations, retreated to her sister's residence in Connecticut. Audrey, who had always shown more kindness than her mother, called to apologize for her years of condescension. I just automatically assumed, she admitted, because Mom repeatedly said. Many people made assumptions, I replied honestly. That was their fundamental error. The technology press enthusiastically covered my story. The hidden tech genius, the woman who revolutionized quantum computing in secret, proclaimed one headline. Trophy wife or tech visionary? The dual identity of Eleanor Vasiliev Harrington announced another. I granted precisely one interview to a respected technology journal. When asked why I had maintained my professional life separate from my personal identity, my answer was straightforward: innovation stands on its own merits. I never needed public recognition to validate my contributions. The article rapidly went viral. Noah temporarily moved into our guest room. We existed in an uncertain state, neither fully separated nor genuinely together. He began attending therapy sessions. Attempting to understand his role in enabling his mother's behavior, I observed his struggle with the realization that his trophy wife had achieved far greater professional success than he would likely ever attain. Vivian returned from Connecticut after a month, noticeably subdued. She requested a meeting through Noah. I'll meet her at Quantum Sphere headquarters, I decided. In the Innovation Lounge, she arrived precisely on time, dressed with her customary academic elegance, but lacking her usual authoritative presence. Jordan served refreshments without being asked, sparkling water for me, tea for her. You've completely renovated this space, she observed, looking around the lounge. Yes, the entire facility is undergoing modernization. We're expanding our quantum research division. She visibly flinched at the word we. I presume you're expecting an apology from me? No, Vivian, I don't require your apology. What I want is for you to understand something fundamental. I leaned forward, meeting her gaze directly. I am not the woman you presumed me to be. I never was. Your son married a technology pioneer, not a decorative accessory. If you desire any meaningful relationship with us moving forward, you need to accept that reality. And if I find that impossible, then you'll miss valuable opportunities far beyond VIP access to my technology conferences. She took an unsteady breath. Noah is attending therapy sessions. Yes, I'm aware. Because of my behavior? Because of his own choices. He's finally confronting his personal role in our family dynamics. She stirred her tea methodically, the spoon clinking rhythmically against the porcelain. And you? Will you forgive him eventually? That depends entirely on Noah, on whether he wants to be a genuine partner or remain a son who never truly matured. The sounds of renovation work echoed through the building, providing a fitting accompaniment to our conversation about rebuilding relationships. I researched your background thoroughly, Vivian admitted finally. Your company, your technological innovations, your philanthropic initiatives. She hesitated momentarily. The scholarship program for disadvantaged young women in STEM fields. Someone must help bright girls without pedigrees achieve their scientific dreams. She flushed noticeably, recognizing her own cruel words skillfully reflected back to her. As she prepared to leave, she turned back once more. For whatever it might be worth now, I was completely wrong in my assessment of you. I know, I replied confidently. I was always certain of that fact. That evening, I discovered Noah in my home office, truly examining it for the first time. He was studying the framed photograph on my desk, capturing us on our wedding day. I felt such immense pride that day, he said without turning around. Pride that someone as beautiful as you had chosen me. I never considered being proud of your intellect or achievements. He turned toward me, his eyes reddened. Now I feel profound shame about how I permitted Mom to treat you so disrespectfully, about how little I truly knew about my own wife. But mostly, I'm genuinely amazed by everything you've created, by your extraordinary resilience and brilliance. I realize I don't deserve you. Probably not, I agreed candidly. But deserving me isn't the central issue, Noah. Supporting me genuinely is. Being a true partner is. Can you commit to that? I sincerely want to try. He gestured toward my desk. Show me everything. Tell me about your company, your innovations, your vision, everything I should have asked about years ago. I sat in my ergonomic chair, watching him settle into the visitor's seat, reminiscent of our interaction in my downtown office. But this time, he was genuinely prepared to listen and understand. It began 15 years ago, I started, feeling a weight lifting from my shoulders. With one revolutionary algorithm and an ambitious vision. 1 year after Vivian's award ceremony, we hosted another event at Quantum Sphere headquarters, the official launch of our educational initiative combining humanities and technology, paired with the announcement of a new research foundation supporting women in technological innovation. Noah stood beside me as I delivered my presentation, his hand offering genuine support on my back. Vivian sat in the audience, neither on stage nor relegated to the back, but in a position of respectful acknowledgement. True progress develops gradually. Audrey had joined my board of directors, contributing her legal expertise to the company. She had successfully broken free from her mother's constrictive influence, discovering her authentic voice in the process. As for me, I was finally expressing my complete identity, Elena Vasiliev-Harrington, CEO of Quantum Sphere. A woman who had constructed her success through brilliant innovation and perseverance. No more concealment, no more diminishing my accomplishments to accommodate others' insecurities. The trophy wife facade had dissolved. In its place stood what had always existed, a woman who had revolutionized technology while being consistently underestimated. A woman who had transformed misconceptions into strategic advantages and deliberate privacy into remarkable strength. After all, sometimes the most satisfying victory isn't merely success itself, but success achieved entirely on your own terms.